Hey, awesomes, how's it going? All right. So we're going to talk about attention getters today. In this video, what are attention getters? Right. So for this week, for the readings for week 13, just by way of friendly reminder, we're still working on project 3, right? Inquiry Research Project. We're going to start talking about the sections this week. We're going to talk about quoting and paraphrasing. I've got some videos for you on that as well. But we're really going to kind of start with the attention getter. And we're going to look at our 2 samples too, to look at those. So this is one of the links that I gave you, talking about kind of how do we get our audience's attention. And recall that the very first thing in our introduction, right, with our introduction outline in the very first section, which is the introduction, is grab the audience's attention, right? I think once you do that, it really helps you set up the rest of your paper, and it makes the writing of your paper so much easier, because then you kind of have you give yourself a theme kind of in a way. So this particular site says we could do questions, stories, statistics, and then there's another one here that gives us some more ideas here. Let's see, we can do a question, right? We can do a quotation. All right. What was the anecdote, right? A small story that kind of relates, right? If we want to relate our topic to our audience. We got the question, right? Not necessarily a yes or no question, but kind of that gets them thinking, right? A yes or no question isn't necessarily bad, because you can you also use as we'll see in our example here in a second, a question can also have a startling statistic in it. And you kind of combine the two. If your topic lends itself well to humor, you can start off kind of in, I don't know, sort of with a joke per se, but something quippy, funny. And then, of course, a shocking statistic is probably one of the more common ones. But let's see in our examples what our students are doing here. So the making of a murder, which we looked at for the quotation one, starts off with a quote. Not every trauma creates a killer, but most killers are created from trauma. I love this quote. And if you've watched the quotation videos, the quotation and the conversation templates videos, you'll notice that we keyed in on, right, those particular aspect. And we happened to look at one of the samples of quoting and using some of the conversation templates in this particular essay, where he is introducing this idea of trauma. And so I like the fact, because it comes into play, right? He's kind of dancing on the fringe of trauma, and then about the midway through his paper, it's like, boom, now we're going to start talking about trauma. And then he uses that the rest of his paper extremely well. And it's all set up, right, from this opening quote. Not every trauma creates a killer, but most killers are created from trauma. And then he goes on to explain and talk about trauma as it comes to mental capacity, just in mental and psychological, sociological events, right? How they respond, and then, of course, the genetics aspect. But anyway, so let's see what the other paper we've got here. Oh, this is a question. That's right. Yeah, a question with a startling statistic kind of in it. Did you know that we only have 11 years left to prevent irreversible damage to our Earth? 11 years may seem like a lot of time, but in the grand scheme of things, it is only a small fraction of time that will pass in the blink of an eye. And this is kind of a two-sentencer, if you will, because he gives you kind of that 11 years, kind of putting a number to it, right? So that's where we kind of have that shocking statistic, but it's kind of wrapped up in this question, which I thought was very, very creative. So those are 2 ways to be thinking about the attention getter, and kind of ways, and especially with the second example, where you can kind of combine and take the shocking as a statistic, and then kind of put it into the form of a question also, to because what you really want to do is you want to pique your audience's attention, right? And get there, because that's how we're starting our paper, right? And in both cases there, when he talks about that 11 years, he goes down then for the rest of his paper. Then he's explaining how we've still got time, but not much, right? It's only a fraction of time. In fact, it'll be gone in the blink of an eye if we're not careful. And uses that opening extremely well. Then it sets up like the rest of the paper. All right, guys. So that's it for attention getters. All right, we'll talk to you again soon. I hope that you are staying safe and that you are staying awesome. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and just let me know. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.